Cheers, and welcome back to Cooking with MoWino. This lovely red wine that I'm drinking today is an Austrian wine and grape called Zweigelt. Now, I probably butchered the name, so apologies to my Austrian friends. But this is a wine or grape that was invented by the fusion of two grapes from Austria. And this has been in production on a limited basis in the United States since 1922, I think I read. But anyway, I've only had this grape once before when I was at a wine tasting at the Austrian embassy, and which, believe it or not, is just down the street from where I live. But anyway, I was in a wine shop that I don't normally go to on a different part of town, and they had this. So I had to buy it because I'd only had it once. And I would describe it as a light, fruity, with a zing of spice, which you know I like, Pinot Noir. So it's a great summer wine, great barbecue wine, and great for what I am making today. You've seen the ingredient board, and what I am doing is making the classic French onion dip, or just onion dip. But I think, as you and most, we grew up having onion dip at home with a container of sour cream and a packet of dry onion soup mix. Mixed it up, chilled it, and we all ate it, and it was delicious. And every family gathering, my grandmother always had it on the table. It was just a sort of a staple of any kind of gathering to have onion dip and potato chips. So, I don't know, somewhere as I got older, either I ate too much of it, but it just started not to agree with me, and the high sodium content of the dip bothered me. I sort of switched to spinach dip because it sounded healthier, and then I went into cheeses and pâtés, and would buy onion dip already made, which was never the same flavorful impact, but it was easy, convenient, and it was a dip to put out for guests. So today I'm going to make a homemade version that's hopefully as potently tasty, but less disagreeable, shall I say, than what I grew up with. So we're going to start with caramelizing our onions as the chef sips some wine, because caramelization of onions takes time, and it's one thing you should not rush. So I'm going to melt 2 tablespoons of a garlic infused butter that I had in my fridge that I had made, and then I'm going to put my chopped onions in there, let them caramelize, and then bring you back. Cheers. Okay, friends, so our onions, our chopped onions, have been in a roasted garlic butter, and they are tender. They are not caramelized, but this is MoWino after all. So I am going to add some white wine that is left over from last night's dinner. What I always do if we don't finish our wine is I save it for my cooking, and I saran wrap it, keep the oxidation out of it. So anyway, we have some white wine that's left over from dinner last night. I would say this is almost 3/4 of a cup. I am going to add a 1/2 cup. Yeah. And I am now going to let my onions saute in this wine and soak it all up. As I call it, as you know, my wine bath. My onions are going to take their wine bath, and they're going to soak in the tub, so to speak, until all the wine is absorbed. And then I will bring you back in. Okay, as you can see, all of our wine has been absorbed. So the wine bath is now over. And I am going to allow, and there's already starting a small bits of caramelization in the onions. I'm not sure if you can actually see this, but see, there's just a few bits of brown in there. So we are going to keep it on medium-low, and there's plenty of moisture still in the pan, but I am going to flatten this out, as you've seen me do many times before. So we extend our surface area, and I am going to let some of these onions enjoy a caramelization so that we have great impact of flavor in our homemade onion. Welcome back. we have beautiful caramelized onions, which we are now going to add to the layers of flavor. In the ingredient board, you saw that I roasted garlic, which I am now going to squeeze into our onions. And I have picked some fresh thyme from the garden. I just think onion and thyme is a great flavor combination. So that's about, I would say, a teaspoon of fresh thyme. And this is white pepper, which I don't know, for whatever reason, it comes out really fast. So I always put a little in my cap first, and then I dump it in. And now we're just going to smash our garlic, our roasted garlic, which is also caramelized because of the hour-long 400-degree sauna that it took, that's now going in with the onions that have bathed in wine. So let's just keep the metaphor going. So anyway, I'm just literally squashing down this garlic and blending it in with our onions. And then what I'm going to do is turn this off and let the onion mixture cool. We want it completely cool when we mix it into our Greek yogurt. Here's our Greek yogurt, which I have had in a homemade cheese filter, and we have a little bit of water. We're just trying to get as much liquid out of the Greek yogurt as possible so that we have a resemblance of the thickness of sour cream. And we have our caramelized garlic onions, and I'm just going to put this into our Greek yogurt. Now obviously the caramelized onions is going to give a different color than what we are traditionally used to with our, shall we just call it vintage onion mix, onion dip. This is 1 cup of Greek yogurt with 1, I would say medium to almost large chopped onion, 1 head of garlic, 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme, and a half a teaspoon of white pepper. So I'm just literally mixing this up very well. And I'm going to put this in an airtight sealed container. I'm going to chill it, and after about maybe 2-3 hours, I'm going to check on it and taste it, because the onion flavor is going to intensify as it sits, and I don't want to flavor it yet until I know what that intensity is. So I'm going to wait 2 to 3 hours, get it really well chilled, let the onions soak into the Greek yogurt, and then see if it needs anything like salt or maybe a little garlic powder, whatever. We're going to make a decision after we taste it and after it sits and it rests in a nice cold fridge. Cheers!